I, 29 male, have spent the last 3 years being a total ghost in my own house. I'm a senior software engineer, and because I pull in a good salary, my girlfriend, 27 female, decided that meant I was her personal unlimited safety net. She quit her job 18 months ago to find her creative spark, which really just meant me buying her a bunch of expensive pottery gear while she spent her days scrolling social media and leaving the house a disaster zone. The dynamic was basically me providing the entire life and her providing 100% of the drama. It hit the breaking point last Tuesday. I got home after a brutal 12-hour shift, and the place was a wreck. Sink overflowing, trash everywhere, the works. She was sitting on the couch, absolutely livid. Not because the house was a mess, but because I hadn't liked her latest Instagram post within 10 minutes of her posting it. She started in on the usual script, telling me I was checking out and didn't value her energy. I told her straight up that I saw her as a roommate who didn't pay rent or help out. I was just done. She stood up, face turning red, and gave me the ultimatum. She told me she was blocking me on everything for a week to teach me a lesson so I'd learn to appreciate her. She said she was going to her sister's and slammed the door, expecting me to chase after her and beg for forgiveness. I just looked at the closed door and said, "Take a month." The second she was gone, the air in the house literally felt lighter. I realized I wasn't her partner. I was just the guy funding her lifestyle. She thought this was a power move, but she gave me exactly what I needed: a week of silence to get my life in order. I didn't waste a second. I knew she was an hour away at her sister's, probably bragging about how she was punishing me. I went to the garage, grabbed a stack of boxes, and started packing. By 4 a.m., her vanity was stripped, her aesthetic kitchenware was boxed up, and the house was starting to look like mine again. Wednesday morning, I got a 10 by 10 climate-controlled storage unit and paid for 3 months in advance. I wanted to stay on the right side of the law. Since she'd lived there for over 30 days, she was technically a tenant. I couldn't just dump her stuff in the rain, but I could definitely move it to a secure spot since she had voluntarily left the premises. While I was packing her closet, I found a shoebox. Inside were credit card statements for 3 cards I didn't even know existed. She'd opened them using my address and ran up $15,000 in debt. Most of the charges were for influencer retreats and luxury clothes she'd lied and said were brand gifts. The worst part? She'd added me as an authorized user on one of the cards without telling me, just to use my credit score to get a higher limit. It wasn't just entitlement, it was straight-up financial sabotage. I spent Wednesday through Friday working my job and then spending every night moving boxes. I called my landlord, explained the situation, and since the lease was only in my name, he let me pay to have the locks changed immediately. By Thursday, her key was just a useless piece of metal. I also did some digging on those credit card charges. A bunch of the business expenses for her pottery were actually high-end furniture deliveries to her sister's new apartment. She wasn't just finding herself. She was using my money to help furnish her sister's place behind my back. Saturday morning was the day her 1-week block was supposed to end. At 10 a.m., the first text came through. "I hope you've realized your attitude was the problem. I'm willing to come home today, but I expect a sincere apology and an investment in my studio. Do you miss me yet?" I didn't answer. 10 minutes later, my doorbell rang. I watched the security camera as she tried her key, jiggled the handle, and then started pounding on the door. She was screaming my name, kicking the porch, and losing her mind because she couldn't get in. I unblocked her just long enough to send one message. "I didn't just change the locks. I moved you out. Since you wanted a week to teach me a lesson, I took the time to appreciate my freedom. Your things are at address, Unit 402, code 8821. I paid for 3 months. After that, it's on you. Don't contact me again." She went nuclear. She was screaming about emotional abuse and how she was going to sue me for illegal eviction. I just called the police and reported a trespasser. When the cops showed up, she was in the middle of a full-blown tantrum, throwing a potted plant at my house. I walked out, handed the officer my lease and the proof that her property was safely stored, and explained she'd moved out a week ago. The officer told her that if she didn't leave immediately, She was going to jail for trespassing and property damage. The look on her face when she realized her beauty wasn't going to get her out of this was worth every penny of that storage unit. But then came the legal threats. Her sister's lawyer sent an email demanding $50,000 for mental distress and business loss. I didn't flinch. I replied with the photos of the credit card statements, the furniture receipts delivered to the sister's house, and the security footage of her leaving voluntarily. I told them that because the fraud was over $2,500, it was a felony-level identity crime, and I was more than happy to go to the DA with the evidence of her sister receiving stolen goods purchased on my fraudulent credit. The lawyer went silent. Her mother even called me, trying to guilt-trip me into giving them $20,000 to settle and make the police report go away. I told her that my reputation is based on facts, and the fact is her daughter is a thief. I sent one last settlement offer. Sign a document admitting she moved out voluntarily and agree to a 24-month repayment plan for the $15,000, or I'd press the identity theft charges to the fullest extent of the law. She signed the PDF within 5 minutes. The final meeting was at the storage facility to transfer the unit to her name. She looked like a mess. No glow, no smugness, just pure bitterness. She tried to tell me I threw 3 years away for pride. I told her I just stopped paying for the privilege of being used. As she opened the unit and saw her life packed into boxes, a stack of her pottery supplies fell and shattered. She screamed that she hated me, and I just told her that for the first time in 3 years, that wasn't my problem. I drove home to a house that finally felt like a home. No drama, no walking on eggshells, and no hidden debt. Justice wasn't just getting the money back. It was finally having the silence to realize how much better off I am without her. If you enjoyed this story of a power move backfiring, make sure to subscribe. Unlike my ex, I promise I won't block you for a week just to see if you'll beg for more content.